Hey, it's Joe Hubbard here, and today I want to share with you something that I feel is missing from a lot of bass players' survival toolboxes. You know, there's a lot of people who attempt to learn theory and harmony, but miss out on the right order that they should be learning this material in. One of the most basic music theory principles that is an essential skill to develop is understanding intervals, and contrary to popular belief, makes up a large part of learning how chord formulas work when trying to improvise over a set of chord changes, whether you're grooving or soloing. If you're completely unaware about how intervals work, then click on the free bass stuff page at joehubbardbass.com and download the free PDF report called Understanding Intervals. Okay, so let's take a look at this. The basics for interval construction starts with the major scale. We need to first establish what the major intervals are and the perfect intervals, and these come from the major scale. So a C major scale, I've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. And that is the root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. Now, the octave, which is the root to the eighth, is a perfect interval. The fourth, which is C to F, that's a perfect interval. And then the fifth, going up to G, is a perfect interval. Everything else in between in the major scale is major. So the second is a major second. The third is a major third. Okay, the sixth is a major sixth, and the seventh is a major seventh. So now that we have that established, what we need to understand is how the chromatic intervals fit between those. So what happens is that if we've already established that C to D is a major second, then when we have a minor second, it's got to be some kind of a D, because major second is already a D. So a minor second, or if it's going to be called any kind of a second, it has to be some kind of a D. So we're going to call that D flat. So the note in between the root and the major second is a minor second, and we call it D flat. And it's really important what we actually call the note. In between the second and the third is going to be the minor third, and that's going to be called E flat, because we've already established that E is some type of a third. So to have any kind of a third, it has to be some type of an E. So if I'm going to call this note a minor third in relation to C as the root of my key, then I've got to call it some type of an E. So that's an E flat. Then we go to the next note, which is the augmented fourth. This is between the perfect fourth and perfect fifth. We have a chromatic interval, the augmented fourth. That means I sharp the fourth. So because I'm calling it a fourth, it's still got to be called some kind of an F. So I'm going to call that F sharp. Now, this is a note that we often see as two different letter names. Like, we often refer to this as a sharp 4, sharp 11, and also flat 5. So this is very important. If it's a flat 5, 5 is G. So if we're going to call it any type of a 5, it's got to be some type of a G. So it's going to be G flat. Okay. So then the next one that we have is going to be between the 5th and the 6th. And this is going to also be two intervals. If we sharp the 5, it's going to be an augmented 5th. So we have G to G sharp, okay? And if it is going to be a flat 6, we are going to call it a minor 6, and that's going to be A flat, okay? And again, that's because A has already been established as the major 6. The same methodology happens with the 7th, because when I go to flat the 7, it becomes B flat, because we've already established that the 7th is B. So now that we have all of that, we know that under the umbrella of the key of C, we have C, D flat, which is our minor second, D, which is our major second, E flat is a minor third, E is a major third, F is a perfect fourth, F sharp is an augmented fourth, or G flat is a flatted fifth, G, which is a perfect fifth, G sharp, an augmented fifth, or A flat, a minor sixth. Then I have A is a major 6. We have B flat is a minor 7th. And then B is a major 7th, and then C is the perfect octave, okay? So that's the basic blueprint for the diatonic and the chromatic intervals. Now I'm going to teach you a soft skill drill that will increase your mental awareness regarding how the notes and patterns under your fingers are related to applying chord formulas over chord progressions. We need to know how the shapes we're playing relates to all the diatonic and chromatic intervals that we looked at earlier. If you've practiced my random note finder exercise, you'll already have a basic understanding of where the notes are on the fingerboard. But this exercise puts it into the context of a key area, and that's going to result in you developing a more lasting understanding of how to think about this stuff when playing chord tones. Okay, the next exercise that I'm going to show you is a soft skill drill that's going to increase the awareness of what's under your fingers, and also in related to a key area, both diatonic and chromatically. This is a very powerful exercise, and it's going to really enable you to know how to relate this to chord formulas, and then thus understand a lot more about playing with chord tones. So what happens here is that we're going to do this exercise in a different key. We're going to take the key of E here. So E is my note here, and I'm going to start by going for the minor second. So I go E to F, but I'm going to do two shapes, E to F. So I have two shapes to deal with. Now the next one is the major second, so I go E to F sharp, and then E to F sharp. Then minor third, E to G, E to G. Then major third, E, G sharp, E, G sharp. Then perfect fourth, E, A, E, A. Then augmented fourth, E, A sharp, or flatted fifth, E, B flat. And then what I'm going to do here is use this as my pivot point. The augmented fourth or diminished fifth, sometimes called a tritone, is where the octave divides exactly in half. So this is where I'm going to take it to the next string. So we're going to go E to A sharp or E to B flat. Okay. Then the perfect fifth, E to B, and then E to B. And then a sharp 5, which is going to be E to B sharp, or the flat 6, which is going to be E to C, okay? And the same thing here, E to B sharp or E to C, okay? Then what I have is E to C sharp, which is my major 6, E to C sharp, and then E to D, which is my flat 7, then E to D, and then I go E to D sharp, which is my major 7th, and then I've got E to D sharp, and then I go E to E, and then I've got E to E, and that's my octave. So what we've done is we've gone through all the different chromatic intervals, and we have explored two different shapes for each one of those, which is really good to do, and you're naming all the notes in relation to the key. Okay, so that's the first half of the exercise. The second half of the exercise, I'm just going to take it up the octave, and the only place that you don't get that note duplication in the same way that we did it the octave below is with D sharp and E, because I don't have the higher string. If I had a 6th string with a high C, I could just go ahead and apply it that way. So what I'll do is I'll just use the D sharp here and the E here to duplicate those notes just so we have it. So what I've got here is E goes to F, E goes to F, E to F sharp, E, F sharp, E, G, E, G, E, G sharp, E, G sharp, E, A, E, A, E, A sharp or B flat, E, A sharp or B flat, E, B, E, B, E, B sharp or C, E, B sharp or C, E, C sharp, E, C sharp, E, D, E, D, E, D sharp, E, D sharp, and E, 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 E. So what I want you to do right now is learn this exercise in every key, and then start to see, feel, and hear how these intervals relate to the chord tones over a particular chord type. For instance, if we have C minor 7, the formula for the chord is going to be root, flat 3, 5, flat 7. But if I have a C major 7 sharp 5, it's going to be root 3 sharp 5 7. You know, a lot of people talk about playing with chord tones, but one of the essential skill sets is understanding an organized system that applies to all chord types and allows you to reference the chord not only from the root, but also the 3rd, 5th, and 7th of the chord that's in question. I've put together a great new book called the Chord Tone Sudoku Workbook, where I'll show you an organized, systematic way that you can learn how to adopt a chord tone-driven approach that will literally transform you into a better improvising bass player. This book will be on sale for the next 2 days only. On Friday, February the 24th, it goes up to the full price. So if you haven't got this book yet, then grab your copy now by clicking on the button below this video. If you have any questions about this lesson or anything else related to the book, then please put them in the comment section below. Until next time, practice smart, work hard, and play creatively.